Hi, I'm Emyle Watkins, and this is the WBFO Disabilities Beat.
There are very few people, even with the most severe disabilities, who can't take control of their own life. The problem is that people around us don't expect us to.
Ed Roberts, who would later be known as the father of independent living, on 60 Minutes in 1989. Last week, an attempted federal funding freeze threw the disability community into a panic. But to understand why, we need to go back in time a bit, to the 1970s and 80s.
And we built a system, a political system, and a system of public policy based on old attitudes that actually allow us off the hook, that have no expectations, that believe that we will not work or participate in our communities. When in fact, we've discovered that the reality is just the opposite.
Roberts, who was paralyzed by polio as a child, spent his life fighting for people with disabilities like him to attend school, work jobs, live independently, and support each other. He founded the first independent living center in the early 70s to change a system that didn't expect disabled people to contribute fully in society.
We don't do everything for people with disabilities. We make sure people can navigate to those supports and services that are out there and get them connected and linked.
Stephanie Orlando is the Chief Operations Officer of Western New York Independent Living. Today, ILCs exist across the United States and in other countries. When the Rehabilitation Act was amended in 1978, federal funding was added to create and support ILCs across the country. They now provide a wide array of services, including peer support, education on independent living, connection to supportive services for work, school, and healthcare, advocacy, and help with transitioning out of institutions like nursing homes and hospitals.
I think it's important to recognize that we've always had longstanding support from Republicans in terms of that, government should not control our lives. And I think when you look at what independent living really is about, it's about people living their lives according to how they want to and getting the supports to live in the community and not have to cost as much on the government.
ILCs are a conduit for people with disabilities to access what they need to live and contribute in our communities. While some of their funding today comes from donations and state budgets, a significant portion is still enshrined in federal funding because of the Rehab Act. ILCs also get money through Medicaid-funded programs they provide.
So if you're talking about government efficiency and how funds are being used, this is the most efficient way to help people with disabilities live a full, meaningful life, work and be taxpayers, and be able to get out there and contribute to our community and our society. That's what independent living is about.
In 2022, Winnell reported that since 2008, their programs have saved the government over $800 million by keeping Western New Yorkers out of costly institutions like nursing homes and in the community. When the pause was announced, the disability community was looking at an immediate concern. Would a temporary loss of service regress people? Would staff leave for other fields?
Our funding is diverse. So a pause we can shift through, but if we don't have a workforce, if we don't have people that feel like this is a job that will be there in the future, then we're in serious trouble.
However, what Orlando worries about the most isn't what would happen in the short term. It's what a pause could mean in the long term, since their programs are enshrined in law.
I think it would be difficult to know if it's a pause or ending. To me, it's really get to the point where we, pause funds, then we have laws that are not being funded. So you have unfunded mandates in the federal government. So does that mean that there will be an act of Congress to repeal laws? That's where my mind honestly goes.
Orlando says she finds the questions the new administration is asking of federally funded programs confusing. She asks, what is woke about access?
One of the questions is, does the program provide funding that is implicated by the directive to end discriminatory programs, including illegal DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility mandates? So, illegal DEI. So, access is a civil right. It's not illegal. It's actually the law. So, that's very confusing.
As of right now, Despite the funding memo being rescinded, the judge in a case levied by 22 states, including New York, has issued a temporary restraining order and will continue the case. The judge said the order was rescinded, quote, in name only, end quote, and that a tweet from the White House press secretary shows the Trump administration is attempting to proceed with their review. The restraining order prevents the federal funding freeze in those 22 states. This case and others will determine the future of this situation. However, Orlando urges the disability community to not let fear or confusion set in, as a lot is still not known. But she does feel that the community may need to prepare for a fight like Roberts and other disability activists fought.
I think that may be our future again, to fight very hard for our civil rights. And I think we need to save up our energy and focus on what's real. So stay connected to each other and supporting each other, and, do not promote fear, promote real information, and decide what our tactics will be to move forward, and make sure it's clear what independent living is and what it isn't, and what disability rights are and what they're not.
You can listen to the Disabilities Beat segment on demand, view a transcript, and plain language description for every episode on our website at WBFO.org. I'm Emyle Watkins. Thanks for listening.